missing, like, why is this its own chapter? Like, we touched on it a little bit last week. And I understand, like, peeling back or like, and broadening things so you can kind of disconnect a little bit from maybe like anxious feelings. But like intuitively, I want to like dive into the layers and go deeper instead of like piling on armor to like get myself to a neutral stance. Like I've always used that energy, whether it was positive or negative, to try to make the change. So this is just mind-boggling to me. Help.
Okay. So the neutral topic, it doesn't really matter what it is. It just needs to be neutral. So if you chose something you're really passionate about, it's probably harder to be neutral. So you could literally just pick a wedge on the wheel of life and find a really neutral, like, brushing your teeth. I don't really, it can be whatever it is. The whole point is to create and try on different perspectives. But sometimes we can get really stuck on the neutral part, right? It's like, what? It's so against what we do. And that's why it's challenging. I totally understand, JC. But just remember, it could be anything. It could be my socks. Like, it could be silly too. As long as you can go either way about it. But the neutral topic itself doesn't matter as much. The original like thing they wanted to look at is really important, because then you can look at it with the perspective that you find through the exercise. And that's the goal.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's where you can really dig in. So like I want to dig in with Robin about anxiety with workshops, but we're finding something really neutral so that she can have that creative space freed up to create new perspectives and try those on and create a signature perspective that she can then look at this challenging situation and be like, when I look at this situation, like I'm like empowered, I'm excited, like it's a really positive thing. So it's just about removing how you feel about something, but you could choose something you're really neutral about already, or that's easy to be neutral about. But that's not really the most important thing. It's the most important thing is creating the perspectives. But the neutral part is the most challenging part, because it's totally against what we do.
Yeah, so we would be creating that like neutral feeling around, whatever topic in the exercise, and then applying that neutral lens to whatever topic they wanted to discuss.
Right. So if Robin's up for it, I was going to move it. I can model this for you.
Go ahead.
With our neutral topic. So we have, remind me of our neutral topic, Robin?
Collecting ideas.
Collecting ideas. Okay, so you're not, how are you feeling? Do you feel a certain way about that?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. So there we go. So that's just leaving you in a space to be really creative now. So what we're going to do is create multiple perspectives. So again, that's a perspective is a lens, a way of seeing something. So I shared earlier my perspective of, like I see everything through mom eyes now. So for you, if you had to put on maybe a really silly perspective, what comes to mind for you? Like, what is your silly perspective?
Silly perspective. I don't know if I know what you're asking. A silly perspective around what? Anything?
See how she's really like, where's my topic, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I just try and like just tap into being creative and just think what comes to mind when you think of silly. Just like what comes to mind for you?
Dancing down a hallway.
Okay. Is there any music playing?
Maybe not. No. Just in my head.
How does dancing down the hallway feel?
Oh, it feels good.
Okay. Did you notice you're smiling?
Yeah.
So it feels good. What does it do for you as far as stress?
Oh, it alleviates my stress and changes my perspective on whatever the situation might be. It puts a funnier tone to it.
Okay.
A humor to it.
So then, Robin, you could create a silly perspective of dancing down the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense now?
In relationship to what? Yes, I could create a silly perspective of dancing down the hallway, yes.
Okay, so the idea with this exercise is creating perspectives that you can then use to apply and like put on different lenses when you look at different situations. So we could take your silly perspective even farther.
Okay.
You know, what if you were holding something while you're dancing down the hallway? What would that be?
A top hat.
You're holding the top hat or you're wearing a top hat?
No, I'm holding a top hat.
Okay. What are you wearing?
Oh, just work clothes.
What do your work clothes look like?
Oh, just go with a pair of tan slacks and a pink top blouse.
Okay. Are you wearing anything on your head?
No, I'm just holding the top hat, dancing while I'm holding the top hat.
Okay. What, I know we were originally going for silly, but what emotion comes out when you think about dancing down the hallway holding a top hat?
Making other people laugh.
Okay. Are you laughing?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm laughing.
Okay. Okay. What if there was something in the top hat?
I guess that's kind of neutral for me. It wouldn't matter either way.
Okay. All right. So when you think of silly, do you have this picture now that you've created? This Robin's dancing down the hallway holding a top hat, no music, and you're laughing as well.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So now let's switch. What is a really let's see. What's a really patient perspective? What embodies patience for you?
Wow. What embodies patience for me?
And what I like, Robin, if like an image comes to mind, a song, a character in a movie, a time of day, just whatever comes to your mind when you think of that.
A kindergarten teacher.
Yeah. Yeah. Any teacher. Yes.
A teacher. Okay. What else?
Anyone in sales. Anyone who is good in sales in a department store. Or a grocery store.
Okay. All right. What if, is there a way to maybe combine the teacher and the sales?
Okay.
Like, what might that look like?
I don't know why real estate agent just came to mind. I don't know.
Why do real estate agents have to be patient?
Because their commission is based on making sure their client's happy. And they do have to teach the home buyer or seller, depending, a lot about the process because it's not something people do all the time.
Okay. All right. When you picture a real estate agent, like, or what a real estate agent does, what do you see in your mind?
Just a person who is genuinely trying to explain maybe something that's difficult to understand in as easy terms as possible, just trying to be patient.
Okay. Is there anything else that really captures patience for you?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, what about an over-the-top, I'm so deliriously happy perspective? Imagine that for a second.
Oh, okay. That's just somebody who's just so happy they're bouncing off the walls. I don't know. I don't know where these things come from. Okay, I don't.
The key with this exercise, Robin, is to trust yourself and what comes to
Okay.
your mind. And then we expand on it so that, you know, when you're like, I really want to tap into a happy perspective about something that's not so fun,
Uh-huh.
you might laugh because you picture someone bouncing off the walls. That's
Okay, yeah, it's somebody bouncing off the walls happy.
okay. Is it a person or is it a cartoon character?
It's a person.
Okay.
No, it's a cartoon character. It is a cartoon character.
Okay. What might be the cartoon character, if you can imagine?
It's the bunny from the Frosty the Snowman.
Okay. I forget what the bunny sounds like. Do you remember?
He talks. But he follows orders, and he follows orders, but he bounces and jumps around and gets really happy at one point.
Okay. What might he say as he's bouncing off the walls?
He's just yelling yay or something like that.
Okay. Yay. Right. And I forget, is he a special color or is he just like a white bunny or
He's white.
okay.
Yeah.
How are you doing so far in this exercise, Robin?
I think I know where it's going, but keep going.
Okay, what is, let's say, a mom perspective? I'm curious about this one, what you might create.
My mom perspective, actually, Kanika and I talked about it. We just talked about a mom perspective. And the mom perspective is efficient and working with a limited window of time, most all the time. So they're efficient, they're more focused on what's happening immediately in their space rather than things that are around them.
Okay. Let's see. So far we have a mom perspective, we have a patient perspective, we have happy jumping off the walls perspective, and we have a silly perspective.
Right. Is that enough, or do we need more?
What do you think? If you could create a perspective in a category like peaceful, energetic, tired, anything, what perspective would you like to create?
Oh, I don't know. A confident perspective?
Okay, let's go with that one.
Okay.
What comes to mind with confidence?
Controlling the room or commanding the room, or, you know, self-assuredness.
Who do you picture?
It's a person, it's not a cartoon. It can be a man or a woman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, someone who looks confident. You know, their clothes fit right. They're, you know, I don't have a big a big idea of what they're wearing, but yeah, something like that.
As they're walking confidently in the room and their clothes are fitting just right, is there any background music going on?
No, not in particular. Not particularly, no.
What's going on around them?
I don't have a real good vision of what's going on around them.
Okay. So it's almost like you can't see anything else but them.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. All right. And then, okay. And then let's do one more. What about a peaceful perspective?
A peaceful perspective is someone who walks into a room and people are genuinely happy to see them. They also give off a sense of genuineness, if you will.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
So is it a genuine perspective or a peaceful perspective?
It's peaceful. It's peaceful. I view that as peaceful.
Okay. What do you picture? Like if you were to capture a scene that really captures peaceful and genuine, what would you see?
I would see someone who is dressed casually, but together, not rags or anything, put together, shaking hands, and when they shake hands, they actually clasp the other person's hand or grab their arm, or there's a hug involved. There's no conflict around them. There's no judgment around them. Just a very nice flow.
If something was flowing around them, what would it be?
It would be positive energy.
What does positive energy look like?
It's not so much I don't know if it's so much a look like or a feel. I guess it's a look if I say it's an air about them, or maybe that's a feel. That's a feel. It's a feel about them, yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's like the positive energy is coming from them and then kind of flowing around the room.
Yes.
Okay. So Robin, are you noticing that as we are creating these perspectives, you're almost experiencing them as we create them?
Yeah.
So you got all relaxed and your speech even slowed as we were talking about peaceful. Did you notice that?
Yes.
When we were talking about silly, you're like, like you had a smile on your face. And as we've gone through these. So as we've created some of these and you've experienced them, which ones stood out to you?
Probably the peaceful and the confident ones stood out more for me.
How might you combine those two?
I could change the clothes of the confident one and make him more relaxed. And I just said it was a him, so maybe it was a him, although I didn't have a direct impression. Mm-hmm. Maybe make him more relaxed looking. The peaceful person was definitely a woman. It's kind of weird. I could make the person less rigid.
Like unapproachable?
No, just very formal. Make them less formal.
Okay. How would you bring in the confidence element?
I don't think she'd be hugging There wouldn't be any hugging. There would be handshakes or and suddenly that peaceful air is mixed with something else. I'm not sure what it is.
If someone who was confident was going to, like, something was going to come out, or like if they were planting seeds, what would grow?
For a confident person?
Mm-hmm.
An oak tree.
So when you think of an oak tree, does it remind you of confidence?
Yeah.
So if you were to name this perspective that you combined with that peaceful, genuine perspective with the confident oak tree perspective, how would you name it to really capture?
Wow. I would name it the perfect person. I don't know. Actually, I was thinking I would name it genuine.
Genuine, just the genuine perspective?
Genuine, yeah.
Okay. How does it feel to be thinking about those right now, both of those combined into the genuine perspective?
It feels good. Yeah. I have a good general feeling all around, yes.
Okay. All right. So when we initially started talking, Robin, you had that anxious perspective on. Mm-hmm. You were really looking at that when you were thinking about workshops. Mm-hmm. So now what I want you to do is I want you to put on that genuine, confident, peaceful perspective that we kind of created here.
Yeah.
And I want you to look at workshops through that lens.
Okay.
What's that like?
Through that lens, if I prepare well, and truly care about what I'm doing, I could probably pull it off. Looking through that lens. If I kept that perspective through the whole thing.
How can you remind yourself of this perspective?
I don't know. How would I remind myself of this perspective? I mean, I could put a reminder in my calendar to go off and remind me of this genuine perspective every day. I could, before I start working on the workshop, you know, whenever I pull it out and I start working on it, I could force myself to take a moment and think of the genuine person that I created.
What are you noticing about your anxiety level right now?
It's not going up talking about it, no. I'm feeling a little bit more confident about the ability to do it.
Is there any kind of support that you need from me with reminding you of this perspective as you look at the workshops?
No, I'm actually, I printed out the Build Your Life's Work. I'm actually just going to write the word genuine on the cover of it. And hopefully when I see that, it will remind me to get into that perspective.
Well, thank you, Robin. Please let me know if you do need anything. And I do want to just say something. Like, you are one of the most genuine people I have ever met. Like, you are, like, you're so welcoming. I guess that would be another way I would describe you.
Well, thank you.
And so it was so cool to, like, you created this person, but it wasn't you. And so yeah. I don't know. Does everyone else agree? Like, isn't Robin wonderful?
Aw, thank you.
Wow. All right. So what was it like to be a client? I know it takes a lot of creative energy.
Once I got into the mindset, it was good.
What did you notice about like the original topic you had? Did it come and intermingle at all with what we were talking about?
Yeah, I brought it back a couple times, just thinking how this was all going to work out.
Yeah,
I'm one of those people that reads the last page of the book before I finish the book, so I have to kind of know how it ends a little bit. So
I couldn't outsmart you. All right. What did everyone else think? What do you guys think of that? It's a little different.
I took the lens idea really literally, and as Robin was talking, like everything she was creating for us visually, I was almost like assigning like a color, and then I would be like, okay, so like peaceful for me, like I always think of water, like sitting in like a boat, kayak, something. I was like, okay, put on my blue lenses. And I love I love that Robin wrote genuine across her workbook. Like, I think for me, those really tangible reminders really help set your focus. You're going to approach a different topic with that mindset. But this helped me so much. I'm with you now. I'm understanding what we're doing. I was so caught up on just neutrality.
Yeah. Yeah, we almost just forgot about the neutral topic. It doesn't really matter as much. It's more of like getting her neutral so that we could create those topics, even though it was still lingering a little bit because she was figuring out what was happening. But that's another great thing to ask, like, what color is it? What color is it? Like in this, because what comes to mind for them is different. And so you just want to capture that. And you can add props, you can add characters, like just help them really step into a creative space. And so there's not certain ones you have to ask. Like I asked Robin, like over the top, happy, peaceful, silly. Notice I didn't ask negative, because usually like the problem she was having, she had that anxious, not so helpful perspective already. So I didn't really say, but you could say what is the negative perspective? And usually that's not so much fun. So don't do that at the end. And then what you do is you can combine the ones that stood out to them the most and to create a signature perspective. And then you name it. So with Robin, it was the genuine perspective. If she had chosen like the happy off the walls with the oak tree, maybe it was someone bouncing on top of an oak tree. Like, I mean, it could be that silly, but it's whatever makes it memorable for you. It might be a word, it might be a picture, but you want to get a name. So the goal here is you can suggest like, well, what might be a peaceful perspective, or, really present perspective, or really happy, or meditative. Like you can just use your intuition on which ones to ask. And you can even ask your client, well, what perspective would you like to create if it was like a topic, and then ask them what comes to mind. But the goal is go through a couple, and then either combine them, or if there's one that stood out to them the most, that could, make that into their signature perspective, name it, and then apply it. And if you didn't have like really a challenge with your neutral topic, if it was really just not challenging, then what I suggest doing is how can you apply this, and look for application. How can you remind yourself this perspective when you'll need it? When might you need this perspective? And how can you bring it out in that time? So a lot of creative energy that you need to put on. So just trust yourself. Don't try and think about the end goal as much. But like Robin, it was cool to see her kind of experience the perspective as she created it and put it on. So that's what I want for all of you. So that's what we're going to go do now. Does anyone have questions before we go? Okay. And if you didn't get a chance to get your neutral topic, just think of something neutral, like even just like whatever might be neutral for you. And if you have time, like if the perspectives come really easy for you, it's great to name them all. But notice we didn't have time to really go in depth and name them all. But you could literally spend an hour just going through a couple of perspectives with someone. We're going to have, I'm going to do 15 minutes each. So we're not going to have as much time to be debrief, but I know there's so much involved with this, and I just really want you guys to get the experience because it's so valuable having someone. I think I still have one that I created in class. It was like the eating chips and salsa perspective while like skipping. And to me, it was like hilarious, but it reminded me. I even forget what it reminds me of, but I still remember the imagery, like eating chips and salsa by skipping. So I just encourage you guys all to be creative. Don't get hung up too much on the neutral topic, but just think of imagery, characters, a song, just whatever might come to mind when you think of a certain type of perspective, and just as the coach, help them create it. All right, sound good? Anyone have any questions? All right, have fun with this. This is really, really fun. Okay.